Hello and welcome to the Platform Academy. We are thrilled to kick off this session right here at the top of the hour. I am Sharon Barnes, your Platform Outbound Product Manager and today's host, and we have an incredible session lined up today with Adam and Lisa. And can't wait for us to dive in. Now, without further ado, I do want to get into the good stuff. I am thrilled to introduce Lisa and Adam and have them take it away for us. Go ahead and get started.
My name is Lisa Holenstein. I'm an outbound product manager for the Now platform. My general expertise is in the workflow automation space, but I've worked with and covered with most of the Now platform products so far. I've been with ServiceNow for going on 6.5 years, and I have with me Adam Stout.
Good morning and afternoon. I'm on the same as Sharon and Lisa to come through. One of Platform App managers covering lots and lots of different areas over the years. And so I'm super excited to give you some feedback about the feedback you give us and listen some more.
Why is this session called the Safest Harbor? If you did not get the chance to go to Knowledge, this is a session that I prepared for as a CreatorCon breakout and delivered at Knowledge, but I thought it was such a good experience and we got really good feedback, and I'd love to have this session out there for everyone to see and understand. And what we're talking about really originated from our slide that you might have all seen before if you've seen any of us at ServiceNow present. This is our safe harbor slide. We use this every time that we present on product features that are possibly still in development. So anything that is a future-looking or forward-looking statement that we make, we just want to make sure that you don't make any purchasing decisions based on anything we say in a webinar or in a presentation at Knowledge. And deriving from that, I just thought the Safest Harbor would be an amazing title for this session. And what are we going to talk about today is feedback. So we really wanted to give you more insight into what we as outbound product managers do and how we work with the feedback that you give us. What are we talking about when we talk about good feedback? I actually have a quote here by my colleague and fellow outbound product manager, Brad Tilton. He leads the team for experiences, and you might have seen him on the Next Experience Academy before. And as he puts it, the best feedback that we can get includes a use case. So when we say effective feedback, we're not just talking about pointing out what might be broken or missing. We really want to hear a story from you and tell us why this product feature that you're missing would be most impactful to you. Why do you need this? Why would this matter to your team? What is the business impact if we don't address this? And providing context really helps us prioritize and build solutions to solve real problems, and not just theoretical ones that we and our engineers come up with. So let's break down what makes feedback really effective. And we start with the 3 key qualities: specificity, relevance, and constructiveness. And the first one really is specificity, which is a hard word to say, but I'll do my best. Now let's start with this. The more detailed your feedback is, the more actionable it will become for us. So instead of, for example, saying this UI is confusing, tell us which part of the UI, what were you trying to do, and what happened instead. So for example, saying, when I try to filter by date in the incident list, the calendar widget doesn't load in Safari. That kind of feedback is gold. So give us a clear place to start investigating and fixing. And then, of course, relevance. So relevance is about making sure that your feedback aligns with the product's current goals and capabilities. We are doing these academy sessions to give you an idea of where we are going with our products and what is the development focused on. So if you give us feedback for features or capabilities or processes that are legacy, it might not be super relevant, but if it is a critical thing that you really still need for your daily workflow, there might be a case to be made. And then lastly, constructiveness. Really be nice. Constructive feedback doesn't just highlight a problem, but it also sometimes offers a path forward. So even if you don't have a perfect solution, sharing how you maybe have worked around an issue or what you'd ideally like to see would help us design better fixes. So, for example, we've been using a manual script to do something, but it would be great if the platform supported something natively. That kind of input is incredibly helpful and often leads to real improvements. So, now that we know what good feedback looks like, we also want to talk about how you can reach us. And we have multiple channels, each one designed to meet you where you are, but in different contexts. And that can be anything, really. So, there are a bunch of channels, and I'm going to categorize them by some higher level categories. The first one is product-led engagements. So these are engagements for which we reach out to you. And some of our richest insights come from product-led engagements, like the Product Advisory Council or research interviews and webinars like this one. So these are your opportunities to shape the roadmap directly with our teams. Of course, those are not all of these are easy to get into, but your easiest one is this one, a webinar like the academies. So whenever you see academies or other webinars that suit a topic that you are really passionate about and you have feedback for, join those sessions, check them out on YouTube, provide comments, submit a comment, or fill out the surveys. That really helps us. Next are your account teams. So if you're a customer or a partner, you will have an account team of people that work of our employees in our customer-facing teams at ServiceNow. And your account team is really your feedback concierge. They can escalate issues, they can connect you with us as PMs, and they can also make sure that your voice is heard, especially when it comes to bugs, ideas, or roadmap discussions. The biggest one, of course, is always support. So if you suspect something being a defect or a bug or an error, please always submit a case first on the support page. These can also then result in feedback records. So if we find within your support ticket that this is actually not a bug, but something that hasn't been built out yet, that is feedback that can also make it back to the product teams. Then also, yes, please.
I'm going to interrupt. So that's super important when it comes down to it. So a lot of us know each other on this call and we talk in different areas. But if you think it is broken, you think it's not working right, support is absolutely the best way to go about it first. They have the tools, they have the people, they have people around all the time to check that out and eliminate all the easy possibilities. And now if you have a case and you're like, oh, no, this is working as designed, this is right, and now I want to make it better, or how else are we going to do it? Then that's when we want to talk and comes through. But I don't want you to wait for us or an academy to look at something, or to just, if you think it's broken, put a case in. That's the simple way to do it. Don't wait and suffer.
Yes. And I see a question or a comment in chat as well about providing feedback for the docs side. And that is absolutely a good idea. On the docs side, you will see on each of the pages on the right, there's like a thumbs up, thumbs down way. So for each page that you come across on docs, you can provide feedback either anonymously or with your email provided. And this creates so-called docs tasks on one of our instances. So those will also be sent to the curriculum developers immediately. So if you find something on one of the docs pages that you find is not correct, or you want more examples or screenshots are missing, if you push the feedback down thumb, then you can provide a screenshot and all of the things.
And we do that internally as well. That's how we do that too. At our team, when we see it, there's lots of pages of docs, and where it comes through, we absolutely press that button.
Yes.
And every single one of those creates a record in ServiceNow and is addressed and looked at. And I believe when you do put your email address, when they resolve it, then I think you get notified that happens and they follow up. But we take all of that incredibly seriously. Give a thumbs up every once in a while too, and say, this is great. I really appreciate it. Everybody likes to see that. But particularly if something is wrong, and that's not just there's a typo or this screenshot's out of date, to go, this should have a use case. If you haven't done, you can click on it and it won't submit it immediately. You can click cancel, but take a look at that and see, oh yeah, I just would love to see a use case that talked about this. This is not quite enough for me, But if you can tell us to go, this didn't answer my question, but I think it should be here, that's going to help us improve that going forward, that it will answer that next time.
Yeah.
So really, really, really important feedback that is absolutely actioned one at a time. We take all of those, we take action on every feedback that comes in.
It's the same goes. We have a question in the Q&A panel on Now Learning, or new branding is, new name is ServiceNow University. That one should also have the option to raise a case or submit feedback. So check out, like maybe I have to click on your, like my ServiceNow University, but there should be an option to submit feedback for specific courses, but also on the ServiceNow University platform as well.
Once you're in the ServiceNow University platform, there's this green tab right on the right side of your screen where the scroll bar is. Click that. That creates that feedback.
Awesome. That helps. Thank you so much, Sharon. Cool. So yes, so we have these options. So you can reach out through your account team if you have specific questions, or your account team might also include an impact team. So if you have an impact architect assigned to your account, they can help you with certain architectural questions when implementing or working with products that we own. But they also have the opportunity to connect you with product success teams for some of the products, or product managers. If it depends, it sometimes depends on how big a customer your employer is, where you work. But generally, they can at the very least forward your feedback to us as well. And this is also how you can get to customer meetings. So for some of, especially the larger customers, we PMs also do direct one-on-one or one-to-many customer meetings. So the entryway to that would be through your account teams. And then the community. So many of us are also active on different communities, some more than others. So we have our own ServiceNow community that is run by ServiceNow, where you can post questions, find blogs and articles, and also the blog posts for these academy sessions to get answers. You can also provide comments on the YouTube videos that we upload to the ServiceNow community YouTube channel. Additionally, there's a community-led Slack server with, at this time, probably over 16,000 members. We have a couple of ServiceNow product managers and researchers that are also active there, depends on the product. However, this one, we don't have like an official coverage. This is more of a, we want to go where you are, but you will probably not find all of the PMs there, but a couple of them you will. Similarly, the subreddit on ServiceNow, this one is a little less watched by PMs, but it is still a place that we occasionally go to and get a lay of the land of comments that are there. But you can still connect to other ServiceNow professionals and get your questions answered. So to get an idea of how to estimate these, or like get an idea about these different channels, I mapped them on a graph based on impact and threshold of engagement. So basically, all of the channels that we've talked about so far, some of them are much easier for you to engage with us, like the community or attending a webinar, posting on Slack, or sometimes even when some of us post on LinkedIn and you provide a comment right there, that'll also be looked at. Not a guarantee, but we try to keep up with the comments. And then on the higher end of the threshold of engagement, we have things like the Product Advisory Council, direct customer meetings, and also design partner programs. Those are harder to get into because your company will have to like fulfill certain criteria, and there's a selection process, and like the Product Advisory Council members are always elected for a given year. But the first step of getting into those is also talking to your account teams. On the flip side of the higher threshold of engagement, this feedback is much more immediate, and you get to talk to us directly. So that is always a good thing. At ServiceNow, as Adam pointed out earlier, feedback isn't just collected, but we also use it. So every insight that you share will help shape our roadmap. And whether it's a feature request or usability gap or a strategic idea, we really want to make sure that we prioritize what a majority of customers want. And how do we use that? To close the loop, we rely internally also on the ServiceNow platform. So we use strategic portfolio management and tools like the strategic planning workspace, portfolio planning, but also some Now Assist features for SPM. And these tools really help us capture, organize, and also act on the feedback at scale, and connecting it directly to planning items and strategic goals. Now Assist for SPM takes this even further. So we are also using our own GenAI capabilities. In this case, we are using GenAI to summarize feedback records, because they are many. Like, there are really a lot of them. And you'll see how many in just a second. But we really want to make sure that we identify themes, spot trends, and make informed decisions without having to sift through thousands of entries. But the summarization feature is also capable of highlighting like specific feedback records so that we can get direct customer quotes to present to our leadership or make the case to get something in there. Just before the session happened, I decided to pull a few numbers. So we have started using the feedback feature in our planning instance last year. So a little over a year ago. And in just, I want to say like 4 or 5 quarters, we have gathered over 20,000 feedback records. And that's a real big number. But it's not just the volume, but it's also quality. So for example, our research teams, when they engage with you in direct product feedback sessions and they get your input for specific features or designs, those also end up in feedback records. So the top 3 known sources that we have are those research projects, customer meetings, and then the idea portal. So all of the ideas that you submit to the idea portal will also become feedback records. And then from there, being like connected to our epics and sprints and so on. That being said, now we want to highlight a couple of features and capabilities that have made it into the product in the past couple of years that stem, among other things, directly from customer feedback. And one of those is my favorite thing. It has been on the idea portal, the questions, for quite a while. This is a safe harbor in notification. So the Zurich release will be in early access on July 31st. And this is also when you will get access to Flow History. So Flow History in Zurich is a direct result of your feedback. And you can then view, name, comment on, and revert previous versions of your flows, similar to the version control we had in workflows previously. And we already have a couple of enhancements to that planned for future updates. So not in Zurich, but in a future release, we will provide a side-by-side compare version of that. So I know that a lot of people have asked for this, and I'm so excited it's finally making it into the product in Zurich. So it's EA is around the corner. So if you upgrade later this year, you will get access to this. And I think that's really awesome. Next one, you might have seen in Yokohama that we introduced dedicated triggers or reusable triggers for flows. And these are really cool and will have advanced features, especially on the scheduling side. So one of the requests that we saw on the portal, but also on Slack, on the community, and on Reddit and everywhere, and in product research, is that you wanted more options to schedule your flows. And this will be available also with Zurich. So this will support system schedules. This will support, say, specific days of the week. You can run something like weekly on Thursday and Friday, which was not easily possible before, but maybe except for holidays. You can also pick specific dates, of course, and additionally, in addition to every week and month and so on, we now also have a yearly trigger. This will give you a lot more control over your automation timing, so no more running a subflow via script from a scheduled job. Now scheduled triggers will do the job. And you can make them reusable with Trigger Builder, so you don't have to like create a first day of the month schedule or trigger for every flow where you need that, but you can create it once and reuse, which is really handy. Another one for flows, in Yokohama, we introduced flow debuggers. So we heard our customers ask for better options to debug and step through flows. You can now set breakpoints and step through a paused flow to review configuration and runtime values. This is really useful, and we're also enhancing this going forward. On the reusable triggers, that just reminded me, another option for reusable triggers also added in Zurich is external triggers. So you will be able to configure webhook-like triggers for your flows so that other systems can trigger your flows in ServiceNow, which is really handy. One thing that we have added a while back in Xanadu, so I'm slowly moving back in time a little bit, is Playbook variants. For those of you who haven't created playbooks yet, playbooks are an extra layer on top of your flow engine. So if you want to combine multiple steps, multiple stages of a larger process, then playbooks are your weapon of choice. Playbooks allow you to run multiple flows, subflows, or flow actions in sequence and parallel, plus an added experience layer on top of them. So playbooks allow you to present the steps to your agents, to your process workers, but also to your requesters. And playbook variants added in Xanadu allow you to build similar but different versions for related business processes. So this means that you don't have to create a dedicated playbook for, say, onboarding in Europe, onboarding in Asia, onboarding in the Americas, but you can have one playbook for onboarding, and then most of the stages will be the same, but maybe some in the contract stage, some activities need to be different. This can be done with variants. And these can also be, like, I think 5 levels deep in the child variants. So you can have variants of variants of variants, which is really neat. And now I'll hand it over to Adam for some more features outside of workflow.
All right. So this is the easy one. Lisa likes me because she lets me talk about this one to come through. In terms of feedback, what did we hear from you? These are some specific examples kind of around the platform. The list view. So in Next Experience, our list was different. It was different than Core UI. And what we heard loud and clear again and again and again from everybody was, hey, it's nice. It looks beautiful. But I wanted to do the same things that I was able to do with our Core UI. So being able to right click wherever I want to do, having the filters at the top of the list view, searching, doing the column header search. These were things we were able to do in Core UI that were important to you. We heard you. Those are put into Yokohama. And then we go above and beyond because also things that we wanted to be useful for you. The infinite scroll, live updating, things we couldn't do in Core UI that we can do now. So both things of, I like this, but I want this as well, or I just would like it to do that. All of that feedback is super important to us so that we can prioritize the right enhancements for you. Next, we'll talk about dashboards. So I've spent a long time with analytics in ServiceNow. And when we went to, for a very, very long time, our responsive dashboards came out in Istanbul, which was many years ago. I don't remember what year it was anymore, but it was Istanbul. We had to do, for searching, it was very secure. It made sense to many engineers, but we all ran into a very common error, which was you've shared the dashboard, but you didn't share the report. There was a reason for it, but hearing stories and use cases from you allowed us to justify, we need to change that. We need to simplify it. And so with platform analytics that's initially launched in Tokyo, and more of us are using it now, we were able to reduce the security level. Now, this is one where it wasn't just a patch fix. It was not really simple to fix what was existing out there, but when we updated to a new version, we took that feedback in and we made sure that we addressed it. And there's actually quite a few things in here. I don't have it in here, but I'm going to plug this one as well. With platform analytics and the platform analytics dashboards and filters, we were able to unify our filters so there's only one. And our responsive dashboards in the older style, you had interactive filters that worked on reports and dashboard breakdowns that worked on performance analytics. Dashboard breakdowns would work on as interactive filters, but in reports, but the other way wouldn't work. And you had to know all this stuff. And many of us that did it learned it and then didn't think about it again. It just took a little while to learn. The feedback was, yeah, don't do it. Don't make it that complicated. Make it just work. And so whether it is sharing or it is the unified filters, those came out when we worked on the next version. We were able to retool everything. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come through, but that doesn't mean we're not listening to you. Sometimes these things that do seem simple are difficult, require a lot of architecture changes, but we address them. Also really important then to look at some of those new features that come out, that we are redoing things. They are different. The sharing in the dashboards and in the Next Experience dashboards is better. It is what people ask for, but you have to go use it. The filters are way better. They are what people have asked for, but you do have to go use it and you have to migrate. We are just not always able to change behaviors and what works, what's out there. But when we come out with a new version, that's where we're able to collect all that feedback and implement that in the way you want. So make sure you're looking for that. And we don't always lead with the, hey, we fixed what you asked for. We do talk about some of the new shiny features that you can do, but make sure you keep an eye out or ask what's coming in, come to the academies, we do the what's new, and then we talk a little bit more detail about that. So that came out in Tokyo, but that was years of feedback of saying, this is too challenging. We tried to fix it. We tried to fix it, but we really had to just redo it to get what you were looking for. Absolutely driven by your requests. And the next one, a little bit for us script geeks that like to work at this stuff, background scripts. Background scripts are ugly. I don't say we all use them, but they definitely get used. And for those of us who use them, we use them and can't live without them. There was an idea in the idea portal to enable syntax highlighting. We actually had syntax highlighting, just was not on background scripts. It kind of got overlooked by some of our product managers because it just worked and it's worked the same way. I've been here for 12 years, and I think that page looked identical to the day I got here, and I'm sure it was identical to this maybe say circa 2005, 2006, somewhere in there, unchanged for many, 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 many years. But we had feedback, and it was upvoted a lot of, hey, can we do this? So we did it. We went through. It was not somebody's top priority internally. It was not something we were looking at. But we looked at the idea portal and we saw this idea that was very much upvoted. And so we went and did that and addressed it. So now we have syntax highlighting for background scripts like we had in some of the other areas. We have all of those things around. We even now have code assist on here. So as you're writing a background script, you can just tell it what you want and it will write the code for you, right? And show you what's going on. This is a just prime example of we would have overlooked it. It was not on somebody's radar about what we're going to do or a new module we're going to launch. It was nobody's top problem. It was not a support case because it was definitely working as designed. But because somebody took the time to write an idea in the idea portal, and many, many other people said, yes, I want that. They read through the idea portals for things they were interested in and said, I want that. We came and did it. Absolutely, because you asked for it. There are many more examples, but we don't want to spend all day doing that. But I want to hand it back to Lisa. If you want to take over the share and help us finish up.
Okay, so let me just quickly pull back to one of the questions, comments, and chat about the search ability in Flow Designer. So Workflow Studio, this is also a forward-looking statement. Don't pin me down on when it will be coming, but it is on our list to fix to add better search capabilities to Workflow Studio. Absolutely, we heard that feedback very loudly. But thanks for reinforcing that. I'll definitely forward that to my inbound counterparts. So to recap, we've shown how feedback flows into our product enhancements and how your input directly shapes what we build. I agree that there can be a little more of a feedback loop to be closed on the idea portal. And I've heard similar comments when I did this presentation at Knowledge as well, that the idea portal sometimes feels a little bit like a black hole, like you post your things and then nothing happens for a while. But we have already submitted that feedback to our product ops team, and we hope to close that loop and give some better information and some better feedback. Maybe like one of the ideas was that when an idea capability gets introduced, the person who submitted, or maybe even everybody who upvoted, gets a notification with the release notes or something. So that would be cool I cannot commit to this, but we have had really good ideas and we hope we can make this happen. So, really, what this comes down to is no matter how good the team, and that is our product managers and engineering teams, is, if we're not solving the right problem, the project will fail. So, your feedback is so, so critical, whether in research, in customer meetings, in sessions like this, giving us your comments, posting on the community. It is important to keep us focused on what matters most to you and your daily work. And now, lastly, there are some links here, and these will also be found on the community later on. Those are really the bigger ones. There's a community article about this content on the community and a link to the idea portal. But really, I want to get some of your feedback. So on the right here, you will see a QR code. You can post things that you maybe also posted here already in the Q&A, or if something comes to you in a couple of days, please use this survey form. This is also a way or an option to possibly get into a research session with us. There's an optional, the survey is anonymous, but there's an optional part at the end where you can give me your name and your email address. And whenever my inbounds, my researchers for workflows at least, ask me about possible customers to be in a research session on workflow topics, we can use this contact. And then this one is for Sharon.
All right. And here we want to thank you for joining us for our Platform Academy. We do think we are one of the best academies out there, but we do also want to point out we have several others. If your focus is in the new AI products, or if you want to see more about the analytics or process mining, make sure to reach out either through the website we have here or the QR code. You can use either one of those to find our other academies and join us as well. We've got our feedback sessions. As we've talked about in this entire past hour, we do want to point out how important your feedback is to us. And this is one of those avenues for us as platform owners or admins to get the feedback that you have. And what it does is it's a quick form for you to fill out, maybe about 3 minutes in length. And from that, we will then reach out to set up a time to either meet with you or your team, whichever works better, so that we can have that avenue for feedback. And with that said, we've got one other avenue for you to find more resources with the community. We've got either through Impact, through our training and certification, ServiceNow University, or through expert services. And each of these is another way to get the help that you need as you're going forward with the Now platform. And then last but not least, I do want to say thank you, both for all of you who joined us and gave us great questions. We love the interaction, but also with our presenters. Thank you so much for an amazing session. All right, and with that, I hope you all have a beautiful Thursday, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you for your many, many comments. I guarantee personally to input everything that is feedback for our platforms, for our products, into our feedback system and reach out for the more critical ones to the relevant respective product owners to make sure that we get those things fixed. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.